Hello and welcome to episode 183 of the Pixel Street podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Joel Campos, and joining me is the world's number 2 Cardinals fan, John Hansen.
Who's number one?
Albert Pujols, of course.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with that.
You thought I was going to come at you with some spicy hot take?
Yeah,
no.
Just putting me on any list with him, I would be. Oh my god! Oh, I'm so happy. I can't wait for tomorrow. Let's talk about video games.
You're both Cardinals fans.
Old.
So there you are. That's the list. I was gonna say bald, but you're not quite bald. You're just getting
I'm
there.
balding.
You're getting there.
I haven't shaved my head in a bit, so I'm not bald at the moment.
Some say called. Oh fuck! I can't do my words. Some people say that all Cardinals fans are balding. That's just them evolving into their final form of Albert Pujols.
I feel like that's just baseball fans in general, though.
True. I mean, I wear a hat all the time, and it's pretty amazing that I'm not balding because of it. Because I wear a hat a solid 70% of the time.
I used to wear hats all the time because I was embarrassed about my receding hairline. I've had it since I was a sophomore in high school, so this is not anything new up here.
Hey, you just got to own up to it. You just got to own up to it, man.
Yeah, pretty much just accepted it.
Anyway, this week we are going to be talking about some baseball because me and John have both been playing MLB The Show 22. But we are also going to talk about a new Tomb Raider game as well as E3. What's going on with that? Yeah. But before we get to that, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. First and foremost, please go check out our Twitter account, twitter.com/pixelstreet. Sorry, Dallas was just posting in the chat, so it's kind of distracting. Okay. But yeah, at Pixel Street on Twitter. Check out our pin tweet there. Join our Discord. Take part in some Pale Party nights. We should do another one soon. Maybe Among Us again, because I do really want to get that Master Chief skin in it. And the only way that I'm going to buy it is if somebody makes me play the game.
I haven't downloaded, and my daughter's still obsessed with it.
So join our Discord to take part in that in the future. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can see if you're watching on any platform, which would be YouTube or Twitch. Go subscribe to us on YouTube here. John just put up a guide on how to play MLB The Show with friends. Again, because last year he got 160-something thousand views on it. And today we're sitting at 168 views already. It doesn't make sense. Apparently a lot of people need to know how to play with their friends. Funny thing is...
To be fair to them... Okay, go ahead.
What I was going to say is this video is at 168 views in it says 5 days, right? And the video from last year's game has still gotten more views than this in the last 5 days.
Yeah.
That last year's video you put up is just caught in an algorithm that just will not stop.
I'm not complaining. That's my most successful video of all time. Probably not my most successful content of all time. I've probably had guides and stuff written things that have done better than that, but on the YouTube side, I don't have many of those, so I'm happy about that.
Hold on, John. Dallas is in the chat, and he said, let's play MLB The Show, which, yes, Dallas, let's do it. They have co-op now. Ton of fun. Me and John played. We have a let's play up, and you could do 3-player co-op, so let's do that. Also, he says, let's play Apex, and let's play some Warzone. I'm down for all 3 of those. I've been wanting to check Apex out since the next-gen update, so...
Yeah, I can download those again.
John has feelings about it because he had to delete it.
It's just a storage issue thing. I don't have strong issues about it. I still like Apex. I was playing it within the last couple weeks here, and it's still fun. They've made some big changes to it. There's some very interesting changes from when I think you and we hadn't really played it for 2 years, I want to say, something like that.
Sorry, dog almost just threw it. Oh my god.
Oh no. Don't put Gwen's in the chat. We good?
I don't even know what to say about this.
Oh.
It looks like my dog just shit out of her mouth.
Oh. That sucks. Poor puppy.
At least we good. I'm mid-podcast here. The show must go on.
Yeah.
Alicia said that's showbiz, baby.
Oh
Well,
man.
the thing is, as you know, John, I usually walk Gwen right before the show. And today I
Hmm.
walked her, and she was playing like super intense with the dog for a solid 15, 20 minutes. And we came inside, and she ate all of her food, like all of her dinner, like all
Oh
really
yeah.
quick. So that's what that
Yep.
is.
That'll do it. Ugh.
That'll do it.
Unlike anything I've ever eaten.
Elise's. The thing is, like, it just smells like her food and like looks like her food,
Yeah.
but mashed up. So it's not too
Still
bad.
fucking gross,
Same,
man.
damn
It's very, very gross.
Yeah.
Um, Gwen, you can lay down. You're fine. She's like scared. She thinks she's in trouble. You're fine,
Oh,
bud. You're
poor
fine.
pup.
Oh
All
man,
right. Let's talk
Dallas
about
says.
Tomb Raider.
Hold on. Dallas in the chat says that poor dog, and I swear to God, every
Yeah.
time I'm talking to Dallas on whether it's Destiny or something, this dog's getting into some shit, and this is no different. Like I think the last time we were playing, or the last time she had issues was like, I think she might have had a UTI or something because she peed in my bed 3 times while we were doing a Destiny raid, or 2 times, and then the third time was when I got off to go to bed.
Oh
So
man.
poor Gwen, poor Gwen.
Um. Oh yeah, we were talking about Apex and stuff. Yeah, I'm download. I'm down to download those again. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Man, I am off the rails right now. I don't even know what to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
John, take us into some news.
Just get us out of here. Save us, please. All right. So yesterday, at least I believe it was yesterday, um, Epic Games had a little showcase thing of Unreal Engine 5. They revealed that it is now available for all developers to work on it. Apparently, before it was only just like with certain partners and everything that had access to it, but now everyone can do it. You can check out everything that was in there on YouTube. But probably the biggest confirmation in there for me was that Crystal Dynamics are working on a new Tomb Raider game made in Unreal Engine 5. And I got to tell you, Joel, this has me so hyped, man. So if you don't know, Crystal Dynamics they made the first two of the recent three Tomb Raider games. Yeah, just
And the Avengers,
and the Avengers, but I'm focusing on just the Tomb Raider
best game
stuff.
of all time.
They made Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. What's the other one? Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That was made by the guys that make Deus Ex. Something in Montreal. I'm blanking right now.
Montreal.
Eidos. Thank you. They've also made other Tomb Raider games in the past. So you mentioned it. Since then, they made The Avengers, which hasn't gone great. I don't think it's a terrible game by any means, but they definitely made a lot of mistakes along the way. And I just don't think that that kind of game is right for them. They should be focusing on these single player, high action, really cinematic games like Tomb Raider. So this is a return to form for them, in my opinion. I am so excited to see what they have up their sleeves. But Joel, I don't know. How excited are you for this? Like, does this do anything for you?
So I played the first two Tomb Raiders out of like the new trilogy.
Okay, so you
I
did
don't
play
think,
the good ones.
yeah, I don't think I played the third one. The third one's the one that was like a timed exclusive on Xbox, right?
No, that was Rise of the Tomb Raider. That was the second one.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I played the first two then. I never played the third.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably play it. Like, I like the Tomb Raider games because it's basically like giving Xbox a chance to have an Uncharted game, if that makes any sense. Because it
Yeah.
more or less feels like an Uncharted game. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll play it. And Unreal Engine 5 looks crazy from what they've shown of it.
Hmm. The big difference between Tomb Raider and Uncharted is that the protagonist, you have Nathan Drake who makes a lot of quips and stuff. Lara isn't like that. She's very serious, very to the
Yeah,
point,
she's
and
blunt.
everything. Yes, very. But she's awesome. I mean, she's one of the most iconic women in video games ever. Uh, what what would be up there with her? You got Samus Aran. That's all I got
I
for
don't
like
know.
the very top. Like I wouldn't put like Zelda or Princess Peach at the top of like the most like
Like
important.
badass,
Yeah, most like
badass
badass is
female
what I'm trying to
characters.
think of. Yeah, I'm sure there's more. Maybe Kate from Gears 5 would be on there, but I wouldn't put her in the same league as Lara or Samus. regardless, we're getting off topic here. Yeah. So, do you have any like memories that really stick out to you from Tomb Raider games? Like, not just the reboots or anything, but did you ever play any of the older ones?
I definitely do. So I remember as a fucking dumb little one of those dumb kids, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my older brother had a PS1 and he had
Yeah.
Tomb Raider, right? The
Mm-hmm.
very first Tomb Raider. And I remember not understanding how the fuck to play that game at all. And just I
No.
think the very first mission is you running around a mansion, and it was just me running around the mansion and the butler telling me I couldn't do stuff or like something with the but I don't remember exactly. I just remember like cuz it's kind of like the tutorial, I think. And it had
Yeah.
you like climb monkey bars and stuff and all this weird shit, and I just had no idea how to advance the game, and I just remember the butler following me everywhere I went. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
extent of me playing Tomb Raider 1 as like a 7-year-old kid.
Yeah, the big thing with that back in the day, I want to say that's Tomb Raider 2 where he follows you. I've never played the original games, but I want to say that's what it was. But
Yeah.
the big thing back then was the butler would follow you. People would lead him into the freezer in the kitchen, and you could close it on him and trap him in there so he couldn't follow you around anymore. And that
You're right.
became like a big meme.
It was Tomb Raider 2. You are
Yeah.
correct.
All
I'm
right,
looking up a
cool.
video right now.
So yeah,
Oh man, takes me back, man.
memories. Yeah.
Takes me back.
But Joel, I have to ask you, because okay, you said you were like 7. How old would your brother have been around that time?
Um, Probably like 14.
Okay, I have to ask you, Joel. Did
Where the
you
pages stuck together.
what? What'd you say?
I said where the pages stuck together in the
Oh, where the
instruction manual.
pages? No, but it's close to that. Did you or your brother ever try to input the fabled cheat to make Lara nude in those games?
Dude, I have no idea. I was too young at the time. If my brother did, it wasn't around me, so I don't know. Was that like a
Um,
fake rumor that started going around?
That yes, in the first game, that was
Like,
a very popular fake rumor that you could get this very polygonal and pointy woman. You could get her nude. So in the second game, the developers actually ran with it a little bit, and they were like, "Oh yeah, there's this cheat code where you can do it." And instead of getting her nude, it exploded her into pieces.
that's great.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. So never mind.
Oh, all right, cool. So yeah, today I went to our Discord. You can join us in the description of the show and everything. And I asked people on there, "Hey, what's your favorite Tomb Raider memories?" Mike Zoke from They's Play Games and GPN. He says, I remember when the first reboot came out and I was allowed to rent the game from Redbox for one day. So I spent the night at my friend's house with my 360 and loved the game so much I played it for nearly over 24 hours straight. He wound it up 100%ing the single player in it. Adam from Respawning Fire says, Tomb Raider reboot is a banger. Love how they explored the psychological experience of her becoming a Tomb Raider / the violence in that one is absolutely wild. Also rises top 10 games of all time for him. He says it's absolutely fantastic. And I agree. The first reboot, I played it the first time when it came to Xbox One in the definitive edition, and I was just instantly hooked on it, man. That game is so good, and it is very brutal. That is probably one of the games that is most focused on making its protagonists look like they are having a terrible time. Like Lara gets the shit beat out of her the entire time, and those death scenes are just brutal. From like getting washed away in a river and you like get pounded into some spikes and it like goes through her head and everything. Oh, it's awful. Um, and then Rise of the Tomb Raider, I totally agree with Adam, is one of my favorite games of all time. It came out on the same exact day that Fallout 4 released, so it got heavily overshadowed. And this is the one that was an Xbox One exclusive. So it had a really rough time selling at first and everything, but that game was absolutely fantastic. Before this new game comes out, I have no idea if it's connected to the reboots or not, or if it's just another retelling of Lara. They've had them multiple times, I believe. You definitely need to play those Crystal Dynamics games, because even if you've played Avengers and you weren't crazy about it, you had problems with it, those two Tomb Raider games are exactly what Crystal Dynamics needs to do going forward. That is their bread and butter. That is where they excel the most. And yeah, I've got nothing else to say except I'm just so excited for this.
Yeah, I
But
have some B-roll from Rise of the Tomb Raider up, and I loved the games playing it, but it's always kind of comical in a game like this where it's just like you're one person and you're taking on like people in like body armor and shit, like you know what I mean,
mhm,
like taking down a whole army. It's just like always kind of ridiculous, but
yeah,
I do love like the adventure parts of it where like right here in the B-roll I have up, she's like crawling through like a little tunnel of like a broken building or you know
mhm,
and there's like a helicopter flying by like all the crazy stuff like that like when you're climbing and stuff it's just so cool in the game
yeah.
it's really good looking for the time.
Oh, absolutely. That like crawling through tunnels and like squeezing through passageways. I want to say this is one of the games that really popularized that as a loading screen because that's what it is. They purposefully slow you down and make it look like tense, and she's like squeezing through here. What they're actually doing is loading the level beyond there. Um, but now a lot of games do it, and people get annoyed about it. But yeah, that was one of the first games to actually make that popular. Yeah, they're such good games. I cannot recommend them enough if you love action adventure games. As you said, with there are some weird things like with the story in the first one. I wouldn't say she's innocent, but she hasn't killed anyone or anything. She's like very fresh and everything. Then she kills one person, and from there on, it's okay. I can kill everyone, and she has
It's
like
all
no
murder,
issue with it.
all
Yeah,
murder.
what's the word that they use for it? Ludonarrative dissonance, I believe. Uh, there was like a whole thing with Nathan Drake about that, where how does he kill all of these people and not be affected at all? That it's very big in the Tomb Raider games. um, all right, last bit here for Tomb Raider. Well, actually, for Crystal Dynamics. Joel, what do you think this means for both the Avengers and Perfect Dark? Because Perfect Dark is being worked on by both the Initiative and Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah,
Obviously,
and I know
obviously,
Microsoft is having problems with Perfect Dark,
Perfect Dark.
so
Yes.
it's possible that this team is kind of dropping off of that project for the time being. Also, we don't know to what extent they were helping, right? It could have just been like,
Hmm.
you know, a few people helping them bring like some sort of assets over or, you know, help create assets. So like we really don't know. It could be that they had like 30 people helping Xbox. It could be that they had 5. Like it all depends and like the fewer people that were helping probably are still helping Xbox on Perfect
Yeah.
Dark. So,
Yeah. Crystal
but
Dynamics is definitely a big enough team that they have multiple people working on multiple projects. I would assume that there's still probably a smaller team working on Perfect Dark at the moment because the Initiative should be a big enough team, even though we've recently talked about how they're having issues hiring people. Just being a studio that's not their main project, that's just kind of a thing they're helping with on the side. I wouldn't imagine it would affect them too much, but it might. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not part of that team. As for the Avengers, I mean, this really just nails home to me even more that this game is not the future for it doesn't look too bright. There's so many things going against it right now. I'm just waiting for the day where they're like, okay, no more expansions like they have done with like Black Panther, Hawkeye, and all of them. Who was the last hero? Was it Spider Man? And I think that was like a
I
year ago now, right?
no, it was just a few months ago. Probably like 6 months ago.
No. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you like 6, but not a few months ago. It was definitely not this year.
No, no, no. It was end of last year. I'm
Okay,
looking it up.
okay. Regardless, I just really don't see a world where they're going to keep coming out with heroes and new adventures in that game.
It was
I'm
November
pretty
30th. November
really
30th.
okay. That was a lot closer than I thought it was. Um, yeah. Regardless, the Avengers. It's got to be just we're just waiting for the announcement that that game's gonna stop being supported here soon. I'm sure they'll still like support the lobbies and stuff so people can still play the game. But I would be very surprised if they were to announce like the Fantastic Four are here now or Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think, as of right now, I don't think they've announced any other DLCs at all. I think that it's kind of just like, weekly updates or whatever it is, tweaks that they're doing to whether it's XP, loot, maybe they have a double XP week. But I think as of right now, they have not announced any other DLC characters or missions at all. So, I mean, it's very possible that we're already in the state of the game where they're not going to bring anything else out. They just haven't announced it yet.
Hmm.
Um, I think that Marvel needs to bring back Marvel Heroes. That game was so fucking good. I don't know if you ever played it. It came out on
Is that an
PC.
MMO?
No, kind of. Yes and no. It's kind of like a Diablo style dungeon crawler type of game.
Okay.
And they had like every Marvel superhero you could think of. It was on PC and then it came to Xbox. But yeah, that game was amazing. And a
Mm.
game like that is probably much easier to create, like you said, all these Marvel superheroes and stuff, than a game like Marvel's Avengers, where it's like a full fledged game, right? Whereas Marvel Heroes, you only have to, create kind of the sprite of them and then like certain move sets. Um,
Gotcha.
but yeah, I don't know. Marvel's Avengers, I think that game's pretty dead. Like I know, like there's a lot of people still playing it. Like don't get me wrong, but like in my eyes, like there's nothing I don't think they could do to get me to go back. Especially
Hmm.
because the last two DLCs they released, the Hawkeye one and the Black Panther one, I played through the Hawkeye one. I got about 2/3 of the way through, and then right now I've deleted the game many times, re-downloaded it. I get to a certain point where it just doesn't let me advance. My guy just sits there, the little loading thing in the bottom corner just keeps spinning, and nothing
Hmm.
happens. I've sat there. I literally left it sitting there for hours, thinking like, okay, maybe if I let it sit here long enough, it'll do something. I went back like 2 3 hours later, nothing. It's still just spinning. It's like what the fuck. And then the Black Panther one, um, played through the entire DLC of that, which like granted it's not long, like 3 4 hours, right?
Hmm.
And I get to the final boss of the whole DLC, and I think it's like 2 or 3 phases that the boss is, and I get to the last phase, and every time it just freezes me and freezes whoever I'm playing with. I tried playing with loops even to see if like it would help, and it just freezes us, and we can't do damage to the boss on the last phase, and he just kills us, and then it makes us restart. So like those are
Yeah.
two situations where like I've restarted the game and not helped, like re-downloaded the game, not helped at all. I've posted about it on Reddit and stuff, and there are like not a lot of people that have these issues, but like people have replied to my post saying like, "Hey, I have these same exact issues and I have no idea what to do." And it's just like it's entirely game breaking. Like I wanted to play through those DLCs because I like Marvel's Avengers, right? Like I love
Hmm.
the Avengers, and it would just be cool to play through the story of that. Like I wasn't gonna go in and play like 50 more hours and like level up Hawkeye, to max level or anything like that. But I just wanted to go in and play through those DLCs, and the fact that it's that game breaking is like such a turnoff to me. Like I don't understand. Like I don't think I've ever hit a bug like that in a game ever, where it's just like I've gone back months after it happened, still same issues. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm.
And like
Yeah.
I've even put in like a request ticket to Square Enix themselves, and they never even replied to me. Like
Hmm.
I linked in like video captures that I had taken on my Xbox of what's happening and everything, thinking like, okay, maybe they'll reply like, oh, this is a known bug. We don't have a fix at this time. Like, but they just didn't respond at all. So it's like, what the fuck? I want to play
Yeah.
your game. I just want to beat them. Like I'm at the end of both of them. One of them, I'm
Yeah.
literally at the very end, like the last phase of the boss, and it won't let me advance. It
Yeah. It's
sucks.
unfortunate. I will maintain that the campaign in that game is very good. That was
I
pretty
agree.
much a a not Miss Marvel uh campaign, and I loved every second of it. It's
And
when you get in.
sorry, I was gonna say I like that a lot because I didn't know anything about Miss Marvel, and
Hmm.
going in, I thought it was gonna be more so of an Avengers game, but that's not the case. It's more of a Miss Marvel game. Granted,
Yeah.
if they sold a Miss Marvel game on its own, not a lot of people would have bought it. So pretty
Also,
smart on
though,
them.
I really think if they just made a Miss Marvel game, it would have been so much better if it wasn't a live service game. Because then you're talking about a single player action adventure game like the Tomb Raider games. I think that would have been an amazing idea. I think it would still be
Who
an amazing
knows?
idea. They
Yeah,
could go
maybe there will
forward
be a
with that.
sequel. Maybe there will be a
Yeah.
sequel. But yeah, I agree.
Think about it, Crystal.
The Miss Marvel stuff in the single player was like a welcome surprise to me. And I
Hmm.
thought that even though it was a shorter campaign, right? I think like 15 hours to beat,
No,
15 to
not
20.
that. I think it was like
No?
10.
Shorter? Either
Yeah,
way, it was shorter, but like I liked the story so much that I felt like that alone justified the price to me,
yeah, for sure.
right? So, yeah, I'm done ranting about Marvel's Avengers. Fuck that game.
Yeah, you kind of went off on a tangent there. It was like me talking about Balan Wonderworld.
Balan Wonderworld.
All right, let's talk about E3. After we recorded last week, I want to say it was like a day or two after, ESA finally came out and officially announced that E3 2022 is officially canceled. There will be no in-person thing, no online portal bullshit like they had last year. It is just not happening this year. Why? And it's the ESA and they're messing up a lot of stuff. In all honesty, this is actually kind of probably a good thing. But Joel, I have to let you know, I have to ask you, I should say, we hear about this stuff all the time with E3. It's dead, it's gone, it's dead, blah blah blah. There are plans for it to return next year. Do you really believe it can make a comeback next year?
I think it comes back next year, but I don't think it succeeds.
Yeah. You think
I
it's
I
bad?
I, I think they have at least one more year where they actually have some sort of event, but I
Hmm.
think ultimately Jeff Keighley takes over with this Summer Game Fest.
Honestly, I'm with you. I think, except I don't think they come back next year. I think they cancel it for good next year. Like right now, they'll be saying that it's good. We actually had been hearing for months from people like Jason Schreier and I think some other people as well that E3 was canceled. That they actually canceled it in like January or February, something like that. But they just hadn't announced it. Um, so I really think that they're just trying to save face in whatever way here by not saying by saying that there's hope for it next year. I I'm totally with you. This is only going to make Summer Game Fest even bigger. Of course, Keeley was doing his smug bullshit where he's like giving winky faces and everything, and he's so
Yeah,
happy that E3 was
and like
canceled.
here's the thing. Here's my gripe with Jeff Keighley is he we all know he doesn't like E3, right? Because like I
it's
think like
it's
the
obvious.
like no like the year before COVID, right? He said that he wasn't going to attend E3 anymore because of like
Yeah.
differences and like he didn't agree in their vision of the show or whatever it
Hmm.
was. But then, like, of course, he starts to get Summer Game Fest, and he's just like attaching Summer Game Fest to every goddamn company that has an
Hmm.
E3 showcase. And that, like, to me is like, okay, you're saying Xbox is a part of Summer Game Fest. Does Xbox know they're a part of Summer Game Fest, Jeff
Right.
Keighley? Like, you're just saying this stuff. All you did is threw everything on a Google Calendar so everybody could download. That's more or less what you did. And then you like restreamed everything on your channel. It's like, how are you getting
Yeah.
away with this? And then also, like, he's taking all the credit for E3, and then once E3's dead, he's like, huh? Huh? Did you see
Yeah,
that?
check out my thing here. This is so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's like, no,
Uh,
Jeff, your thing was their thing with an
hmm.
extra, like, show added to the beginning. Get out of here,
That
Jeff Keighley.
that was definitely my big complaints with the first year in 2020. Last year's was better. They actually had their own event where they were showing off the
Yeah.
stuff on his stage and everything. So it's at least better now. And it's only going to get even better now if we know Keeley from the Game Awards and everything. He's going to take this
But
opportunity and run with
my
it.
my problem last year too was it was like kind of a mess in terms of like we saw all these
Yeah.
E3 press conferences and then Jeff Keighley had his Summer Game Fest and then we saw
No,
like
his was beforehand.
well either way like we saw
Yeah.
his and then you saw like games there and then you saw like half of those games in other stuff like three more
Yeah.
times throughout the week. And it was like what is going on? Like okay, the
Mhm.
game was announced at Jeff Keighley's, we saw it, and then we saw that same game in like the Xbox showcase, and we saw the same game in like the PC showcase later that week. It's just
Yeah.
like we only need to see it one time, guys.
Yeah, I think this is actually where Summer Game Fest is going to take off, and this is how it's going to become the main show. This is just going to replace E3, I think, except it's not going to be like a convention thing where people can actually like go and talk with developers, and well, reporters can't go and talk with developers and everything. At least not yet. I mean, that could obviously happen at some point in the future. I just that's way too big of a move for them to take anytime soon, I think. Maybe that's something Keeley would try and get set up for next year, like an actual convention. And say, what if they actually held it in the? Is it the Staples Center where they do it?
The same place? No, it's like
Yeah.
it's the LA Convention Center, I think.
Okay.
But that would be a
I don't. Yeah.
hilarious
Right.
move.
That would be really funny. Yeah. No. This is as for ripple effects on the gaming industry. I think Summer Game Fest is going to replace a lot of what the fans get out of it. I don't think that will really be that big of a deal. But as for like interviews and developers that want to get into networking, this is going to be a big blow for them because that was huge for the smaller guys at E3. That being said, the ESA ridiculously overcharges people for having booths at E3. To show off your game there takes thousands and thousands of dollars. It was absolutely ludicrous how much they were spending on that kind of stuff. So that's why you only had like Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox as like the huge things there. Yeah, of course you had like your Gearboxes, your Ubisoft, and everything as well. Those teams still make millions of dollars. They can afford that stuff. These developers that are like coming up, the AA guys that we hear about, the guys that made Microsoft Flight Simulator and A Plague Tale.
Adobo?
Asobo, that's it.
Asobo.
You would never see anything like that for them because they just don't have that kind of money to show their stuff off there. So I think it's a good thing that the ESA is getting backed out of this. I think E3 might be done for good now. I hope Summer Game Fest can be a better thing for this networking stuff in the future for developers and people like me that really love this kind of stuff and want to go there and talk with developers and interview people. Because last year, we technically were invited to E3 and we had their online portal thing, but that was just a mess. Like, it was awful.
Terrible.
It was so bad.
Yeah. I think the one good thing that could come out of this is that Jeff Keighley is in the industry, right? So he's making he's making an event for the industry as being somebody within it. Whereas like the ESA was kind of just like this third party where it's like clearly ESA, if you're not having a live event, overcharging for all this shit, you're not making any money and you're gonna die. So it's just like it just goes to show you that they were just like all in it for the money more or less. Granted, like I don't know what else they do outside of like hosting E3, but still. And then even like as of late, right, in the last few years, Microsoft said, "Fuck this, we're doing our own thing across the street." Right? Like they didn't even have a booth at E3.
Well, yeah, that was the thing, is that they were still technically a part of E3, but to save money, they own the Microsoft Theater, which is right across the street. So they're like, let's not spend our money there. We're just gonna save all the money doing it at our place. Yeah, we'll still put our name in E3 because we're the big name there now with Nintendo. But there's no point for us to spend money when we literally own a lot right next to you. So yeah, E3 has been a mess for a long time now. I think the fans will still want it back because you saw in 2020 when it was just Summer Game Fest and all these like bits and bots of conferences and everything. We didn't like that. It wasn't as fun. Having it all in 1 week where it's just explosion after explosion, announcement, new game, this is coming out. Oh, I'm excited for this. That's like a holiday for gamers. When it's just like dotted around here, it makes things feel more tame and it's just not as fun, in all honesty. At least that's how I see it.
I mean, I'm fine either way. Like I think the everything in all in 1 week thing is really cool. But like I think if last year taught us anything, it's that companies realized we can do whatever we want when we want to do it, right? We can just make our own conference and post it on the internet. So it's like why spend, thousands and thousands of dollars to like pay somebody to be a part of an event when you can essentially get the same outreach at home.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I think that was a good discussion. Let's move on to the quick news. Actually, I have a little bit of breaking news that I just found here a bit ago. Remedy and Rockstar are partnering together to make Max Payne 1 and Max Payne 2 remakes for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. I've never played those games. Have you?
Neither have I. I played some of Max Payne 1 as a kid. Again,
Mm,
my brother bought it on PC, so I tried it. Don't
gotcha.
remember anything about it other than, like, his family dies and he's trying to avenge them, more or less. But
Yeah.
it's worth noting that these remakes are going to be bundled together in one game, which is
Yes.
cool.
Yeah. I'm down for this. I love Remedy. Never played these games, like I said, so I'm definitely excited to give it a try. Overwatch 2 is likely getting a battle pass. This has not been confirmed, but there was a screenshot of the Overwatch 2 menu and there was a section for battle pass. Makes sense. Not a
Yeah,
big
why not?
surprise there. Yeah, it obviously that's gonna happen. Game Pass may be getting a family plan. Cool. That not much more to say there.
I mean,
Sony are
I'm down. My family's going to grow that day, I'm
yeah.
sure.
Sony are planning to acquire more PlayStation studios this year. They did not say who or when or anything. They just said, "Hey, we're planning on making more acquisitions, so get ready for that." I would be very surprised if it's anything close to Bungie again, but we'll see. Return to Monkey Island has been announced. If you haven't played the original Monkey Island games, I definitely recommend it. They are very fun, very good writing. Probably go in with a guide because it's that kind of story adventure where it's very obscure stuff. Like what was the one thing you have to like whatever. It just get a guide and enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Dying Light 2 is getting a new Game Plus mode this month. There's supposed to be a very big update. They're saying the biggest update yet, which obviously it's only been out for 2 months. I expect the biggest update in 2 months. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be cool to see. 343 has addressed the Halo Infinite community, saying that they understand that they have been unable to meet player and community expectations. They know that the community is fed up. They're just fed up with the lack of content and everything. Pretty much all they said was, "It's coming. Season two's coming." And I'm like, "Oh, way to reassure us, I guess, guys. Like that's what you've been saying since this game released." Ugh, that's such a mess. Wordle is the second most discussed game on Twitter so far this year. Joel, do you know what number one is?
Crossword puzzle?
No, no,
I
video
don't
game.
know. I know. I'm just fucking with you. If Wordle's a video game, then so is a crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
It's
You don't
basically
have any
like in the
guess? You
same
don't have any
family.
guesses? You wouldn't
Um.
you wouldn't say something from software that's, been pretty
Oh,
massive this
Bloodborne.
year?
Oh no. 3D dot hero game.
Elden Ring?
Yeah, I know. 3D dot hero game was made from software
Oh,
too,
is it? I've never heard of
and it's
that.
like it's a drastically different game.
Hmm. No, it's not Elden Ring, Joel, you idiots. Genshin Impact.
Oh, of course.
Gotcha. Yep. Ghost Recon Breakpoint is not getting any more content. The team is working on a new game codenamed Over. Like I am over Ghost Recon games.
And they're still gonna do the NFT thing. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's
They said it's
stupid.
gonna continue.
Yeah, whatever. That's not gonna last for them. All right, Joel, what you been playing?
MLB The Show, John. It came
Oh
out. We
baby.
both bought the digital deluxe edition, so we were able to play it starting on Friday. Um, few things. Number one, the graphics are definitely slightly better. You could tell that they
Yes.
worked on it a little more. I think that last year's game, it was kind of the same as the year before, just because I think it seemed like they mainly focused on porting it to Xbox. But this year, you
Yeah.
could tell they definitely did more work on other stuff. Um, so it definitely looks a little better. Second thing, the new commentators suck. Granted, like
Hmm.
the new commentators, like they're probably really good in real life. I don't really watch many Cubs games, so I don't know how good Boog is. But like, I don't know, it's hit or miss. Like some of the stuff that they say is interesting to me and like cool, just because it's different from the all the days of MLB The Show last year I played. But then some of the stuff is like really weird and repetitive. Like it seems like last year's game they brought VO from like even years prior to the game just to kind of like keep things fresh and not like granted it still repeated itself, but I didn't hear the same phrase like 3 times in the matter of 20 minutes in last year's game, whereas in this year's game they will tell you about how every star player, you have to wonder if they can compete in other sports such as football and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They will just keep hammering that home like, oh, this guy's so good at baseball, it makes you wonder what else he's good at. Stuff like that. Loops mentioned last night an audio glitch, which I hit yesterday after he told us about it, where you hit a ball to like center field, right field, like not that far. It's just like a pop out. And the commentator glitches like, oh my god, he's way back. And he catches it at the wall. What a play. It's like, no, that guy was just standing in the middle of the outfield and held his glove up and caught the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other things like when you hit it like a no doubter home run, like it's just nice to hear a new voice, like you know what I mean, like saying something exciting, like oh it's way back, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know the commentators overall. I'm not a big fan just because it seems like they half-assed it, and it's really weird that they even got new commentators considering the last guys were in the game since the game first came out in like 2000 or something like that,
Yeah,
2001.
it's been a very long time.
It makes me it
Yeah,
makes me wonder what happened there. Like, were they asking for more money, or
it's
is
got to
there like
be
bad blood?
something like that. It's got to be. I highly doubt that those guys care enough about video games to have bad blood.
I don't know,
Um,
man.
it's got to just be a money and contract thing. Regardless, whatever that is, I totally agree with the commentator thing. I only made it like 3 games before I muted them. I don't even listen to them at all anymore. Um, to me, it all sounds very generic, what they say. Like, they hardly ever mention the player's name. It's always, he, this guy, he's doing it. And that doesn't feel right to me. Like, with Matt Veskurgen and all the other guys, it was always, Albert Poole steps up to the plate. Oh, yeah, this guy, he's got a long career of doing all this and this and this. Last year, this is what he did and everything. There's none of that this time. It's just very forward and basic stuff that it doesn't feel like a baseball game listening to them. So yeah, I'm just better off turning it off. Graphically, the lighting and the shadows are way better this year. That's definitely where I think they put the most effort into the graphical side of things. Because yeah, it looks gorgeous. It really does. I'm very impressed with what they did from last year's game here. Gameplay wise, it's the show. It's just like any sports game. You know what you're getting here. I will say online co-op mode that is a new game mode this year is a lot of fun. You and I did a let's play of that. It's up on the YouTube channel. And when they first announced that and I looked at it, I was like, okay, it's just a basic game that doesn't seem too special. But once we got in and playing in it, I had a ton of fun. We only did
Yeah,
2v2 and I would like 3v3, but I really want to do more of that because it was so much fun just playing it. Like, we weren't even playing as the Cardinals, we were playing as the White Sox, and I was enjoying the heck out of myself because there's not many baseball games, actually none that I can think of, that I've played with someone cooperatively. I've done that in like football games, I want to say, but uh yeah, baseball, that's just, I don't think that's been done. So I really enjoyed it. It felt like something new even though it really wasn't.
yeah. I thought that the co-op was a ton of fun. I definitely want to try the Diamond Dynasty version of it just to see how that
Mhm.
works in terms of like combining our two teams to play another two teams combined online.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the co-op is a ton of fun. I do want to talk about the Switch version of the game because I picked that up
Yes.
yesterday when it came out.
Hmm.
Um, I'm enjoying it. I like being able to play it on my Switch. Like I was playing it last night, laying in bed, laying on the couch. I was playing it, so like it's really cool. It runs at like a pretty steady 30 frames. Like there are times when it jitters, but never when I'm like batting or pitching. The only time it jitters is like when somebody's walking up to the plate, you'll notice something, and I think that's just because like it's trying to do too much in terms of rendering.
Hmm.
But it's pretty steady 30 frames per second whenever you're batting, which is what you need, right? Especially for me, I move the fisheye around to hit the ball.
I
So it
noticed
runs
that.
very well. It runs very well in that sense. Um, The graphics, it seems, if you ever played, so I used to always buy the game on my PS4 and my Vita, back in last gen, because I would like playing, as my guy on my Vita, and I just like playing it handheld as well. And so the Switch version of the game kind of looks like if they had evolved that formula for the Vita to be like, on the Switch hardware. So like obviously it's not going to look as good as, my Xbox Series X or even an Xbox One system because it's a Switch. So it really is rough around the edges, but like for a baseball game, I feel like I don't need that good of graphics as long as I can see, the ball and like my meters or like I said, my fisheye in the strike zone, I think that it's fine. The only thing that throws me off is I don't. It's something mentally, but like on Xbox, A is the bottom button out of the four, right,
Mm-hmm.
in the diamond, and A is on the right on the Switch, and so you hit A on the Switch to advance, which is on the right, but to normal swing you have to hit B because the button configuration is still exactly the same. And so
Yeah.
like it's just something mental because like I'm used to just like jamming A all the time to skip all the animations and stuff on my Xbox just to get to the next pitch. And it's just weird having to move my thumb on the switch to do that and then move it back to do a normal swing instead of like a contact swing.
I have the
Um,
same thing with Minecraft with like jumping around on Xbox and Switch, how it's reversed. So I understand that. I'd probably be the same way if I had it yet.
but yeah, overall the Switch port's really good. So it seamlessly picked up my Diamond Dynasty team. I just linked my account with the show account, my Nintendo account with the show account, and it seamlessly. I clicked on Diamond Dynasty. My team was there. All my progress was exactly where I left off, like 20 minutes earlier on my Xbox. So that was cool. The one thing that's broken, and I looked it up online, is I like to play Conquest with my Diamond Dynasty team, and there's like three things. There's like attack, reinforce, and steal fans. And in every reinforce turn you have, you should be able to reinforce, your players on the board. But it's broken, and it says that I have no reinforcements when I'm playing on Switch, so I can't add any more players to my board, which is broken as shit because you should be able to do that so that you can take over the whole map.
Hmm.
Whereas on Xbox, that problem doesn't exist. So apparently, it's something that they had fixed at one point, but now it's broken again. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the Switch port is definitely like it's playable. I mean, like what you're getting into, right?
That's
Like
all
it's
I
not gonna
want
be
out
as
of it.
it's not gonna be as high res. Obviously, not gonna be 60 frames per second or anything, but it's definitely a ton of fun to be able to play wherever you are, which is really cool.
That's good. All right. Other game I've been playing recently. Well, actually, I just started it today. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I got a code for this to work on guides, so I started playing it today. I've gone through episode 1 and 2 so far. They're very short and straightforward if you're just trying to mainline the story. Took me a little over an hour to beat those two. Well, to beat took me 1 hour each to beat them. Yeah, that is cool. There was actually a few moments that I actually like chuckled to myself because the writing in this is really good. Still, I mean, it's a Lego game where they've got it's still the Star Wars story, but they have like little bits and stuff on the side that just make you laugh. Like, what was the one thing? Oh, it was like Obi-Wan trying to figure out what the dart is from episode 2, and it like slips out of his hand and then lands in the back of someone in the back and they fall over dead, and he's like, oh well, I guess I better go. I was like, okay, that's
Nice.
funny. Yeah, so there was stuff like that. Even though this is really a kids game, there's still some really funny stuff in there. It plays just like a normal Lego game, I believe, from everything I can tell. They did improve the combat, which is an odd thing. You can like actually do like combos now. You can like go in with regular melee attacks and then
Hmm.
press A to like slash them up in the air and hit them. And you can
Kind of
also
like the Batman Arkham games in a way.
not to that degree by any
Okay.
means. Definitely nothing close to that, but I could see it like maybe a step in that direction if you understand what I'm saying. Um, yeah, it's fun. I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I don't know how much longer I'll play it outside of what I have to do to cover guides on it. but I'm enjoying it for what it
I
is.
mean, at an hour an episode, you might as well play through all 9, right? Like that's pretty
Yeah,
short.
yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking. There is a lot of content in it though. If you want to go for
I
like the
heard. I
completionist
heard.
stuff, like it could take dozens and dozens of hours. Um, I definitely wouldn't do that anyway. Like I said, not a Star Wars fan. I don't really care about this stuff that much, but I'm getting some enjoyment out of it. So I really recommend if you have a kid and they like Star Wars, or really if you have anyone that likes Star Wars, play this because it's the whole saga right there. Like that's about as good of a deal as you're gonna find, right? That's
Yeah.
really good. It's a lot better than going back to like the original games that didn't have any voice acting at all in them. At least I don't believe they did at that point. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I might start that tonight, so I'm excited to
Mhm.
try it out.
Yeah.
That
Uh,
MLB
no
is all I
online
played.
co-op, which kind of sucks.
Uh, do any of the
I'm
video
just
games
saying
have
for
online co-op?
no, they don't. I'm just saying if you have a friend that likes this kind of stuff, I couldn't like jump on there with you. It's only local co-op, which
Yeah,
I
that makes
still
sense.
I it just doesn't make sense to me that games do that nowadays. Like, yeah, no, include local co-op, but you can do online as well. Like that those things are not exclusive. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
stupid. But yeah, MLB the show's great. Play it if you're a baseball fan.
it is. I mean, and that's the only game I had to talk about, so
All right. How are we looking on time?
we're at 53 minutes.
Do you want to play a quick game?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. This is a game I'm calling This or That. Really simple. I'll play a little bit of it too. I give you two options. You tell me which is the better and why. Super simple. I think we'll have this done within 10 minutes here. This is going to be the favorite protagonist edition, where we're going to put one protagonist up against another. Which one's better? Any way that you want to put this, it's your favorite. You think they'd win in a fight. Try and explain it if you can. So, first up, Crash versus Spyro.
Easy Spyro because he spits hot fire.
Yeah. Spyro would destroy Crash in a fight, and he's got the better games. Let's just come out right out and say it. Insomniac made better Spyro trilogy games than the Naughty Dog original trilogy Crash games. That's what it is. Now give us
What it
Spyro
is.
4. That's what I want.
Someday
Next
I think
up,
it'll happen.
I really hope so. Mario versus Sonic.
Sonic. He's way faster,
Oh, that
and
surprises
he
me.
doesn't have an annoying voice.
Sometimes.
Well, Chris Pratt.
He's not Chris Pratt. Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
Chris Pratt.
I also think that both of these movies are going to be way better than the Mario movie will be.
I just bought my tickets to go see the second one next week.
Oh man, I'm so excited for it. Then very, yeah, Sonic as well. I love them both. In all honesty, Mario. I've talked about Mario 64 being my first video game ever. Love his series, love the games and everything. Sonic as a character on his own, I like better than Mario. There's so much more there than Mario does. Mario's just kind of a guy. All right, next up, Master Chief versus Marcus Phoenix.
Master Chief takes the cake here. I mean,
Okay.
part of it's because like Halo's my favorite franchise, but I think the
Okay.
Chief would beat the fuck out of Marcus Phoenix. First of all, the Chief's
Okay.
in a full body armor, right? Marcus Phoenix, he's just got a do-rag on his head. Like, come on. Are you kidding me with this? You think this
Yeah.
guy's going to take down the Chief with this fucking chainsaw?
I do think that Marcus Phoenix has a much better story behind him than Master Chief does. If they were in a fight, Master Chief would win all day. He's got a rechargeable shield. He's taller than him, probably stronger than him, I would guess.
I mean, he's superhuman, right? Like, he was injected
he's a
with
super
shit.
soldier. Yeah, no, Master Chief would win a fight. As for games, I also agree with you that Halo is the better series, although Gears has much more impactful moments. I would say they're much more emotional and everything.
For sure.
But yeah, no, I would go Master Chief as well here. Ratchet and Clank versus Sly Cooper.
I'm going Ratchet and Clank just because I've never played a Sly Cooper game.
Oh, you've never played Sly Cooper? Oh, Sly Cooper's awesome. I hope that they bring back his games. But I would go with Ratchet and Clank as well. The series has been running for so long now, and it's still going, and Insomniac just knocks it out of the park every time. Link versus Cloud.
Cloud.
Ah, you motherfucker.
I'm
No,
not a big
it's
Legend of Zelda
Link.
fan, and I love Final Fantasy. So
Gotcha. If they
I
were
think
going
it's
in a
Cloud.
fight, Link would win. Link's got so much more equipment. He's got the Triforce on his side. What's Cloud got? A big sword? Nah, it's not happening. And also
And
the Zelda games.
the power of God behind him.
Who?
Cloud. I don't know. I just made that up.
Cloud's got God behind him? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever you got to tell yourself. All right. This one is going to have to be more what game series, what character you like more, because we obviously know who would win in a fight. Kratos versus Joel from The Last of Us.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious that Joel would destroy
Joel would
Kratos in
win.
a fight.
Yeah, we all know. Joel is the god of war.
I'm gonna have to go with The Last of Us, like
Okay.
series, just because it's more somber to me. Like, it's
Mhm.
it's more thought provoking, I think, than the God of War. Because like the only God of War game I played is the newest one, right? The one from 2016. So
Yeah.
was it 2016?
18.
18. But so yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Joel with this for this one.
For now, I would agree with you. If Ragnarok is even better than God of War 2018, I would probably change my opinion because those original games I don't care about. And
Same.
we've got 2 games where I care about Joel and only 1 game where I care about Kratos. So for now, I would say Joel. I could say that that has the potential to change depending on how the future plays out. Ezio versus Cassandra, 2 assassins.
I'm going Cassandra just because I fell in love with that game. I played
Oh
like
my
dozens
God.
and dozens of hours.
Yeah.
And like I remember I ended up eventually playing through Assassin's Creed 2, but I definitely didn't like dive deep into it. Granted, they're like very different games like if you look back at them, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
is it Odyssey? Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There was like so many side quests, like huge open world. You know, they're just from different time periods in gaming. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I don't know. I just absolutely fell in love with Odyssey. So I'm going Cassandra.
You make a good point there. If Ezio had a game made recently, I would
Yeah.
probably go with him. I agree with you though. Cassandra is my favorite assassin. I absolutely go with her here. I really hope that they keep bringing her back like they did Ezio. They already brought her back for Valhalla, which is really awesome. But I would like more games with her, more full games. Like this Assassin's Creed Infinity would be amazing if she was the lead protagonist again. Yeah, she's just great. Uh, oh, kind of going back to what we were saying earlier. I actually didn't plan this out. Lara Croft versus Nathan Drake.
I think Lara Croft wins in a fight, but I choose Nathan Drake just because I like the humor that he has. Because like we were
Okay.
saying earlier, Lara Croft is just too serious all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just prefer the Uncharted games just because of like that comedy aspect that they throw in there with like Sully and stuff. So yeah,
I
I'm
would.
going Drake.
I would also go Drake. I think Lara Croft would win in a fight, but I would go with Drake for his character because of Uncharted 4. I think that game they really made the human side of him more relatable with his marriage to, I forget her name, his wife.
I can't remember it either.
Shit. Oh no. I know it. She's a really good character too. Whatever. Lara Croft. Maybe Crystal Dynamics
Elena.
could change it up
Elena.
with Elena.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe Lara Croft could get more development and everything, and make it look like she's not such a crazed maniac in the next game that they make. But really, that's what she looks like in the recent reboot trilogy, and before that, she was just a basic treasure hunter, really. And
Yeah, it really seems like Nathan Drake is more of like a thought out, like with backstory, like they go into his whole brother aspect and stuff.
in the 4th game, they didn't do that originally, but they built up to it over time,
Yeah.
and that's where the difference comes in for me. Yeah. Last one here: Aloy versus Ellie from The Last of Us.
Aloy for sure wins in a fight. She got like future tech, right? But then Ellie
But
does
Ellie's
have
a fighter.
guns. Ellie has guns though, so I think Aloy still wins because she could come in on a fucking robot dinosaur thing, lion, whatever. I don't know the
All
fucking
right.
names of them.
When it comes to character, who would you choose?
Probably Ellie, just because, like, it goes back to the backstory thing. Like, Aloy, while, like, she's a cool character, but it's also like you were just made from nothing, more or less.
But
You're a clone of somebody.
Yeah, she's a clone, but she was an outcast for her whole life, essentially, and she, like, built herself up to be this robot dinosaur killing machine, and she goes all over the place helping people. She's a good person, even though people have been terrible to her. Where Ellie is, I mean, that's the whole thing about The Last of Us Part 2 is that she's doing bad things, and we don't want her to get away with it, but we want Abby to. Still upset about that. This one is probably the hardest one for me to choose because I love both of these characters so much. In a fight, I think Aloy would have the edge. Yeah, she seems physically. I think she would just out duel Ellie. Character wise, man, this one is so hard.
It's hard. It is a hard one.
Yeah, I could flip a coin. You could ask me in 10 minutes and I'd probably change my mind. I would probably go with Aloy, though, character wise, at this moment, because maybe it's because Forbidden West is so clearly in my mind from recently playing it, but I just think what she does to the people around her and how she acts around them, when she knows how to be caring and she knows how to, like, have a good comeback to someone that's, like, dogging down on her or something. She's always prepared for everything. So I would go with Aloy.
Cool. Well, with that, we are going to end episode 183 of the Pixel Street podcast. As always, thank you so much for watching or listening to the show. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street, where you can check out our pinned tweet to join our Discord server. Subscribe to us on YouTube by searching for Pixel Street videos over there. Leave us any and all feedback, good or bad, that you have. We love to make the show better. So yeah, let us know what you would do differently in the comments below. But as always, I am Joel Campos. You can find me on Twitter at Campos63 or twitch.tv/Campos63. John, where are you at outside of Busch Stadium?
I am on Twitter at Revx Shadows. You can also find my writing on GamePerd.com. Like I said earlier, probably going to focus on Lego Star Wars this week. But I also put up some MLB The Show stuff over the weekend. Check out our Let's Play of us playing co-op. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube.
We will be right back here next week for episode 184 of the Pixel Street podcast.
Bye!